right, we're back for example 3. We're going to be simplifying expressions involving square roots. So let's look at the first one. We have 3 multiplied by the square root of 36 plus 7. So we're going to do order of operations. That's going to have us do this square root first, which is kind of like an exponent. And you'll learn why this is an exponent later. Well, I'll just tell you. A square root, let's say, of x is the same thing as x to the 1/2 power. So a square root is actually a fractional exponent. That's why you do it first in the order of operations, because this is actually the same thing as an exponent. It's just a fraction. So we're going to do this radical first. Okay, do we know what 36 is? Is that a perfect squared number? Yes, it is. It's the same thing as 6 squared. Plus 7, so what happens is square root and the squared cancel each other out, right? It's saying that it's positive, so we're going to have the positive 6. So we have 3 times 6 plus 7. Order of operations says we do the multiplication first. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 7 ends up being 25. And that is the answer. Okay, let's look at B. Ooh, B is fun. We have this fraction, right, with a radical over the whole entire thing. No problem. Whenever you have something like this, this just means that you can do each of them independently. So then it just becomes like 2 mini problems, right? So is 25 a perfect squared number? It is. It's the same thing as 5 squared over, is 16 a perfect square number? It is. It's the same thing as 4 squared, right? What happens here? The square and the square root cancel each other out. We're left with 5 over the square and the square root cancel each other out. We're left with 4, and it's the positive one, right? Plus 3/4 ends up being, we have a common denominator, so we just add the numbers on top. 5 plus 3 is 8. Over 4, 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Perfect. Okay, now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to try C and D on your own. When you come back, we'll do E and F together, but I want you to go ahead and try C and D. Where's my friend? Here's my friend, the pause dragon. Remind you to pause your device. Go ahead and work those problems out. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about them. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, let's see how you did on C. So we have 2 multiplied by the square root of 64 minus 10, right? We got to do this first. I know that this is a perfect square number, which is the same thing as 8 squared, which is awesome. Because the square root and that square cancel each other out, we're left with 2 times 8. We do multiplication before we do the subtraction. 2 times 8 is 16 minus 10. Our answer is 6. If you got that one right, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's look at this one. Square root of fraction, no problem, because we can just take the square root of each individual thing, right? The square root of 16 is the same thing as 4 squared all over the square root of 4. That's also a perfect square number because it's the same thing as 2 squared. The square root and the squared cancel each other out, and we're left with 4 over square root and squared cancel each other out. We're left with 2. We have a common denominator of 2, right? Which means we can just add the numbers on top. 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2. So that would be the improper fraction, or the mixed number would be 2 and 1/2, because 2 goes into 5 2 times with 1 left over, right? And there we have it. So if you got both of those right, great job. Okay, let's look at E. E is kind of fun because we have 4 multiplied by the square root of 25 plus 144, and that's all underneath here, plus 13. Okay, it's getting kind of complicated. But no worries, we can do it. So we need to combine these first, okay? So we have 4, the square root of 25 plus 144. What's that? 144 plus 25 plus 9, 6, 1. 169. Ooh, I know what that is. Is 169 a perfect squared number? It is. It's the same thing as 13 squared, right? Perfect. So that square root and that square root are going to cancel each other out. So we're left with 4 times 13 plus 13. I'm not exactly sure what that is, so I'm going to go over here on the side. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So it's 52 plus 13, which ends up being 65. Perfect. Okay, let's go over here and try F. Now this one looks a little different, but I think we can do it. So we have a negative here. So square root of 64, is 64 a perfect square number? It is. It's the same thing as 8 squared, right? And what about 9? Is 9 a perfect squared number? It is. It's the same thing as 3 squared. So the square root and the squared cancel each other out. This square root and squared cancel each other out. I rewrite everything. I get negative 8 times 3. And we do parentheses, right? 8 times 3 is 24. So our answer is negative 24. All right, and that's it for this lesson. Thank you for coming and joining the lesson, and we will see you next time.